Good morning, beautiful. I hope that this finds you well rested, ready to begin your day. This is your Daily Tarot Oracle, your daily insight on life and love for July 4th, 2022. Also being timeless. Wherever you're catching it in time, it might be relevant or just entertaining. If that is the case, I hope it's entertaining, but I hope that there's a message in here for you. Don't force it to fit your life. It's general collective. You could tell me to go straight to hecking heck. I said what I said. Anyway, if you have questions about booking a private reading of any kind or asking about any of the services I provide at the beginning and at the end, there is a little, it's like a little picture that has all the ways of contact, so definitely check that out. Yeah, see what might be right for you. We'll talk time zones, pricings, discounts, all that jazz. So I want to kick off the reading now. What we're looking at right here is this sabotage through feeling of this feeling of being abandoned in your life. This is something that needs to actively be pursued and letting go. It's stopping this flow that is trying to come your way. And I feel like all it does is keep you locked into repressed anger. So there's an entire row of cups here. We're missing one. This person right here, who I assume is you, is taking this cup elsewhere. So I was actually just talking about this earlier, and I had used it in like a little reading thing, and the feeling that I was getting from it was this need to stop outrunning your life. Does that make sense? Do you find like you're constantly wanting to just up and go and just, you know, things will get better when you're at the next step or when something happens? No. Stop trying to outrun your life. There's a very painful chapter of your life that you are closing off right now. And I see that this is something where you feel like you can't move. But let's look at the position of the hands on the right hand for this person. They have two hands pointing out. I mean, not two hands. They have two fingers pointing out. And the rest are curled up. There's two in here. And it's with the right hand, so it's about forward movement. There's two that's coming in. A need of balance, a need of choice. This is finding your equilibrium. And that's what you're going to have to do with this painful chapter and going into the new chapter, because let's look at the 10. It's a 1 and a 0. It's a completion and a new beginning. So a whole new cycle that's coming into play in a phase of your life that has apparently come to a standstill. And I feel like all of your insecurities cut through not only that standstill, it cut through your confidence, it cut through any way that you could express yourself. And we have the mountains in the back, which is talking about the challenges. Everything just seems so far off and like it's going to be unreachable, and we don't quite know if that's an actual body of water in front of us that we can swim through, if we're going to go through a desert. Now, it's not even like you can go through it anyways. I mean, look, we have 10 swords in our back. This is somebody who has been going through their own personal brand of hecking heck. I mean that, and while I have to say it in a playful way as to be careful, I mean it. You have been through quite a show in your life, haven't you? This could be mental, it could be a physical, it could be emotional, and any which case that it is not fun. So then we're going to look at the next card, which we have 2 8s in this so far. You're going to have to work really hard to get not only who you are in life, but what you want in your life. You are not only working on yourself, you're working on I think fine-tuning yourself and working out the details for yourself. This is someone who's completely plugged away and who's completely immersed in self. So it looks like the point of this reading is for you to not constantly be a work in progress on yourself, but know that there's a lot of work to be done, and you need to actually focus on yourself right now, because this is what's going to give you the sense of well-being, maturity, of feeling like getting a grip on your life around you when we have nothing but rocky waters and your ships are coming in. It always feels like your ships are coming in. Your ships are coming and they're not here yet, but they're coming in, which, you know, as a person who's listening to readings, it's probably incredibly frustrating. I know as a reader, this is annoying as F. It kind of seems like I'm trying to hook you on to the reading, like, oh, stay tuned. You don't know what's coming. And that's not it. It's just by not working on yourself, it's keeping things at an arm's distance. Your ships are coming in, but so help me God, you can't just stop what you're doing and watch them come in. You actually have to keep doing the busy work and let them, you know, make dock. I'm just saying. So I feel like there's a lot of masculine energy riddling the reading, which is not a bad thing at all. It's momentum, it's authority, it's action oriented completely. It's also about the future. It's the extrovert aspect of you. It's all action. If it were feminine, then I would say that this is more introspective. And no, we're not doing that right now. It's time to actually do the physical busy work on this one. Keep your mind busy, keep your hands busy, keep yourself busy. And it's busy with self. So let's look at these bad boys right here. I'm still going to do the one by one. I know that I normally do like a million cards. I'm not really feeling that at the moment, so I'm going to do what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do. And if you found your way across this, then you need to see what's going to do, what's going to do, what's going to do, what's going to do. I said what I said. All right. We have, wouldn't you know it, another 8. Another 8. How the heck are you doing? So let's look at this. So the 8 of Swords is always about, you know, these stupid excuses we have for ourselves and holding ourselves back. And, you know, the blindfold, it's not even on properly. You can peek out underneath. This person knows what's in front of them. It's just they have made themselves part of a very crappy fence. See, they have this very saturated land around them. It's saturated with God knows what. It's a body of water, but honestly, this person could be standing in their own excrements. And it's like they are bound by this fear, and the fear is even worn loosely. This person has an issue with what seems to be anger, but also toxicity in the environment. And this is something that, since it's in reverse, they are learning to release. You are learning to release this self-imposed heck and standing in our own filth and pretending like you can't see a way forward for yourself because it was in reverse. So you're taking this stupid blind off because there's no point in you lying to yourself about what wasn't working in your life and what the work wasn't, and just making excuses to stay stuck in rather than moving forward. And I see that you're not going to take the time to invest and see what was so saturating in this for you. I really see that you're going to loosen these straps that you have wrapped around yourself. You're going to take whatever anger is and there is, or whatever the dealings with the toxic environments, whether it's internal toxic environments or external. And I see that you are going to face what seems to be a sense of failure. Now, this could be internalized failure that you're learning to release, or this could be external, which the external release, what the heck is that even about? Because it seems like, you know, things just aren't fair. But the whole thing with that is life is going to give you what you put into it. Life is going to mirror you with where your imbalances are. So I see this card, and it's like this feeling of failure, but then it's next to this, and it's like nothing was ever fair to begin with. It feels like you had it. I'm not saying that you had this, but it seems like you feel like you had the short end of the stick when dealings with your peers or your job or the family around you. It's like, okay, when is this going to stop? Why is it always, you know, me who has to deal with this. And this is a sense of, well, I need to draw a card on what this sense of failure is, like what the actuality is. It's always been a power struggle in your life. So this, it feels like you're used to this feeling of people always trying to have one over on you, trying to tell you what to do, trying to control your behavior, your actions, rather than you taking control of yourself. It seems like the desire for you to take that control over yourself is present, but the fallout of it wasn't necessarily present. And this gets cast to blame to, I guess, people who were, I guess you would say, were in control of your life. We could put this to our parents, to whoever our guardians were, even law enforcement. I'm not saying, please don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything illegal or dangerous. That's not what I'm saying when it comes to the cops or authority figures. It seems like there's been unnecessary hardships with people who are in place of authority in your life that have been bestowed upon you. And that's kind of delegating the excuse and the responsibility, especially if we're in the adult age. This is trying to get you to recognize that you have agency over your life. You have authority, and you can actually move forward and do what, you know, is going to be most constructive for you. It's not about damning everybody else. It's not about casting blame on everybody else. This is where you actually have the ability to retract the blame of a power struggle on another and take the power back in your life, which I see that it's not you going to be doing left and right hooks. It's not like that at all. It's recognizing all the choices and decisions, whether it was internal or external, what brought you to this point in your life, and seeing what it has made of your experience thus far, gathering your wits and starting to gain self-agency, and starting to decide what wasn't working for you, what wasn't authentic, what felt confining to you, and how can you go in another direction? How can you gain your self-control over yourself and your decisions, gain total responsibility for your actions, life, and choices, and take this in another direction? Now, that sounds like a lot, but it also gives a massive sense of freedom. So this, we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. And I feel like I need to open up this book right now. So with this, addicted to being a somebody in the selfish self. Okay, so when the stress response is turned on, whether in response to a real or conjured up threat, a powerful cascade of chemicals rushes into our system and gives us a strong jolt of energy, momentarily waking our bodies up and certain parts of our brain to put out all the attention for the big three. This is very addictive to us because it's like drinking a triple espresso. We get turned on for a few moments, and it emphasizes the word on. So it's not like, you know, giddy-o, let's go have some fun. It's more like you are on, the switch is flipped, and you are paying attention to every little stupid detail. So in that time, you become unconsciously addicted to the problem. Or it says actually, in time, we unconsciously become addicted to our problem, our unfavorable circumstances, or our unhealthy relationships. We keep these situations in our lives to feed our addictions to survival-oriented emotions. So we can remember who we think we are as a somebody. We just love the rush of energy we get from our troubles. So moreover, we associate this emotional high with every person, place, and thing in our outer world that is known and familiar. We become addicted to these elements in our environments as well. We embrace the environment as our identity. If you can agree that we can turn on the stress response just by just by thinking, then it stands to reason that we can get the same rush of addictive stress chemicals as if we were being chased by a predator. This book is flippin' awesome. Okay, let's see. As a consequence, we become addicted to our very thoughts. They begin to give us an unconscious adrenaline high, and we find it very hard to think differently, to think greater than we know to think greater than how we feel, or to think outside the proverbial box. It just becomes too uncomfortable. The moment we begin to deny ourselves the substance we are addicted to, in this case, the familiar thoughts and feelings are associated with the emotional addiction, there are craving withdrawals and pains. So if you are addicted to your pain and the circumstances that has caused it, when you are no longer given those addictions, whether it's talking to a person, whether it's access to something, then you are going to go through withdrawal. And it doesn't even matter if it's an actual substance, a classic substance that an addict would put in their body. It's the mind of an addict. And I guess, it's kind of covering for a feeling that we don't want to feel. Okay, withdrawal pains and a host of inner sub-vocalizations urging us not to change. So we remain chained to our familiar realities. Thus, our thoughts and feelings, which are predominantly self-limiting, hook us all back to the problems, conditioning, stressors, and bad choices that produced a fight or flight effect in the first place. So we keep these negative stimuli around us so that we can produce the stress response, because that addiction reinforces the idea of who we are, not only serving to affirm our own personal identity. Simply put, most of us are addicted to the problems and the conditions of our lives that produce stress. No matter where we're in a bad job or a bad relationship, we hold our troubles close to us because they help us reinforce who we are as a somebody. They feed our addictions to low frequency emotions. Most harmful of all, we live in fear that if those problems were taken away, we wouldn't know what to think and how to feel. We wouldn't get to experience the rush of energy that causes us to remember who we are. For most of us, God forbid, we might not be a somebody, sorry. How awful would it be to be a nobody, to not have an identity? So that's what's coming into play right now. And fate is never without a sense of irony, now is it? So to lose that stressor and that self-mastery, it looks like it gets this very emotionally hard response from you. We have the Queen of Swords in reverse. This is somebody who is going to have a temper tantrum. This is feminine energy in a very dark place, from a very wounded place. So as you've been healing, as you've been working on yourself, as you've been moving on, this wound is like it's coming out of permafrost. It's going to get released, and it has the ability to recreate a disease that has been long since forgotten. And now here it is being resurrected in you because you've taken away the stressors and the addiction response. So now we got to deal with this dark queen right here who has no sense of freedom, who feels bound by her old circumstances, and who is starting to get a cloudy head and can't tell what was real versus what is real. And she is not being very tactful with what she is saying. And I honestly feel like she's confusing the truth with an illusion. And that illusion is something that is gauged from the past. So then this is going to slow everything down. This action-packed world that I think that you've been prepping yourself for is coming to a halt. And it's not going to let you move forward. You literally will not be able to move forward until you start doing this inner healing work and stop putting yourself in a point of being that familiar connection with the addiction. Now, this can be a person, this can be a place, this can be a thing. It could be anything. But whatever you had been addicted to and whatever you have been starved of as far as an addiction goes, you are now experiencing the fallout of that. And you don't get to run to another substance with this. And I mean that in a figurative way. You have to sit with this discomfort and see where the actual wound is. And you have to not engage in that addictive behavior and find a new identity outside of that wound as you start to heal from it and not use it as an anchor in your life. So then, when all the excuses stops, when all of the temper tantrum withdrawal stops, then we have the Three of Swords in reverse. Then it feels like you finally have woken up. You can take this deep, gaping breath and truly feel like you have really woken up. And you can see the light of day again. Like you can actually see life happening. You can see your life picking up again. You'll probably be able to even start, dreaming up a future again. And I feel like whatever it is that you have been dealing with was absolutely a trauma response from a lifelong exposure to circumstance, to the addictions, to witnessing even toxic behaviors in other relationships, or just being in traumatic events. Your cause of whatever these circumstances, it was not your fault, but what you did with that is absolutely your responsibility. And I'm not giving you crap for it, but this is where the choice gets given to you again, like it gets bestowed upon you again. You actually get to see where your level of control is. And then after all is said and done, you actually get to get free of that devil now, don't you? You are able to detach from your old story. And after you detach from that old story, you get a whole new lease out on life with nothing but beautiful windfalls of abundance, of loyalties, completely differently ground loyalties in your life, building an entire empire, having a sense of security and safety, feeling like you're on top of the world in a way I don't think that you have known before. So I feel like this is going to involve a lot of deep, stationary introspection for you. And I think that this is very important. I feel like in a way you are jumping a timeline. Now, what really kicks my butt about that is you hear that all the time. It's not like you're forgetting this world that you're in and you're plugged into something else. No. So when you are doing the whole timeline jumping, you're actually changing the projection of the direction that you were going. You're putting yourself on a better path, and you're not going to be stuck in toxic connections with things that were not going anywhere, because all it was doing was reinforcing the story of who you were and what has made you and why you can't move forward. You have to find an identity outside of that old pain, which Spirit's not going to let you off the hook until you emotionally deal with the pain. So after this, absolute abundance, 10 of Pentacles, world coming together for you, and this big mosaic quilt that you actually get to see develop again. All right, this has been the Daily Tarot and Oracle, the daily insight on life and love for July 4th, 2022. Again, being timeless. So watch the mini reads. If you have questions about booking a private reading, reach out. There's a video at the beginning and the end of all the ways of contact. I'm not going to message you and be like your ancestors want me to talk to you. I'm not going to say any of that. Anybody who is having a picture and who's saying that they are being told to reach out to you, that is a total scam. If you want to make contact, absolutely reach out. You have the ways of contact. And yeah, until next time, stay safe, have fun, know that you're greatly loved and appreciated. You're going to be well worth this change. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. So you're here as a way to be more expressive about love and connections. Do I mean romantic love? No, I just mean this general uplift and vibration. So I see that toxic connections okay, so we have Archangel Michael. Let me clear the air on this. Clear any old attachments to fear that stem from past relationships, freeing yourself from destructive patterns. You have to actually do this point of self-reflection If you are going to be here to teach about uplifting and love, then you have to let go of what your actual anchors are from whatever it is that you experience. Now, this doesn't mean that you forget all the knowledge that came with it. It just means that for you to be able to express yourself in a way in front of people, or in front of like, in front of people, and to be that example, then you have to cut away all your anchors. And it doesn't mean that you have to absolutely ghost everybody. It just means that you stop associating yourself with them. So the workshops and seminars is talking about finding your path and purpose and being open to teaching and learning in it. But also you need to actually speak about what it is that is in your heart. I do feel like there's something that you need to be more outspoken about with yourself. And also, have you asked your angels for help with this? So how are you going to let go of these anchors? How are you going to let go of these relationships in your life that you need to know, that you know that you need to dissolve? So it's like you don't quite know how to let people go. You don't know how to let the past go. And Spirit is kind of saying, all right, you need to ask us for help, because when you do that, then we're actually able to intervene. And what the hang up is with that is Source and Spirit, yes, it always knows what's on your heart, what's in your mind, what's truly in there. But for some reason, you need to actually verbalize it, because it has to not interfere with your free will. And the free will and the words that you speak have to kind of match up in vibration. So when you're asking for this, if you're asking in a way that is completely out of alignment with what you truly feel, and it's coming from a place of opposition or fear, then you're going to get the exact opposite response. The words start to get confused with the feeling in this one. And you are here to bring up a continual feeling. I even want to say congruent feeling of high vibration lovingness. And I mean this in the most platonic way. Please don't take this the wrong way and be like, this one relationship is going to be the source of everything in your life. You are so much bigger than that. You are actually starting to elevate the environment around you by not only your actions, but the energy that you put out. So I know that you noticed a difference in the people who are around you. This may be a difference of morals, of opinions, of integrity. And this is saying that anything that isn't in alignment with the direction that you are going, the positivity that you are seeking and expanding on, then this is something that you need to personally reflect on and potentially distance yourself from, so it doesn't drag you down and it doesn't affect you in a negative way. Because you being the earth angel you are, yes, you absolutely, without question, will absorb that energy. Even if you have a shield, it is the art of allowance of you keeping this toxic energy around you. You have to show how energetically high up that you can get and be that source of just passive inspiration. You being the example of what high energy can do is going to be enough to set off what seems to be the rolling ball. I hope this made sense. Let me know if it does. Don't stoop down to that low vibe energy. Nobody got time for that. We just don't. So this is about you overcoming feelings of rejection and hardship in your life, and seeing the setback is a genuine blessing in disguise. So I don't want you to fight for anything right now. It's not about fighting for the person, the relationship. It's not about fighting for any of that. It's literally about you and surrendering to what this all has taught you. And we have the Two of Cups here, which is all about fulfillment. If this were a love reading, it would be awesome, but it's not about love in this instance. It's about feeling like you can actually be whole in yourself and surrender to who you authentically are. I feel like there's something that you have kept hidden about yourself for quite some time that you cannot get away from, and you shouldn't have to get away from this. We have, then there's no need for you to defend yourself in here. You don't have to defend your purpose, you don't have to defend your place, and you don't have to actually keep this hidden about yourself. So this is something about you that genuinely puts the spark in your eyes. So this might be you and your curiosities, you and looking into some sort of aspect of life, whether it's through the mystical, through the spiritual, maybe even religious. It could be anything under the sun. But there's something that you are very inquisitive about that you need to allow yourself the ability to fully embrace. I do feel like There's a new learning lesson that is coming into play. This might be intellectual, it could be emotional. Maybe this is even you and letting go of, I guess, an old mindset that you had. But whatever the case is, understand that you are not actively going anywhere right now. The setback is the point of not taking action and learning to be at peace where you currently are and overcoming the hardship where you are. And it's a point of kind of like saying, all right, I'm done fighting this. I'm done trying to fight this. I'm going to learn how to be exactly as I am, how I am, and where I am. So after you do that, it feels like there's really not a sense of victory that you need to have, rather than a sense of peace, and to just not have the anxiety that you've been having. God sent. I hope this made sense, and I hope that you do the work with it. It's gonna be kind of enlightening, yeah. It's not about who can hurt you anymore. It's about how you can stop hurting yourself. All right, so what I'm looking at right now is healing with the angels, and what I'm seeing right here is nature, playful, and new beginnings. So this is talking about the feeling of disconnect that has been going on with you. Maybe you've been really scatterbrained recently. Maybe you've been feeling really stuck. Maybe your mind has been running wild. Now, if you're anything like me, that tends to come very easy to you. So this is talking about the essential work of you and getting the heck outside if you can. Go let your feet hit the ground. If you're doing it in a safe way, if it's not too hot, and if there's nothing that's going to hurt your feet, do it barefoot. If you could put your feet in a stream that is not going to eat away at your feet, go flip and do it. Even hearing nature sounds, even running water over your hands and touching the back of your neck is going to be a wonderful way to ground. There's a lot of fritziness that seems to be going on with you, and you need to take a mental break, and you need to get back down to earth on this. So this is saying you've been flying really high and feeling very lost for quite some time. You need to come back down, and also you need to kind of prepare yourself to kind of begin again, but it's going to be in towards something else. So we have a new beginning here. This is a constant state of being. We can even look at it as, hey, when you wake up, it's a new beginning. Hey, when you exhale, it's a new beginning. We could totally do that. It's about cycles. So this is really about trying to maintain a sense of grounded cycle in your life and embracing this, I guess, new practical, very minimal step that's coming into play for you. It's not going to be all about what actions you can take and what you're supposed to do. This is a time of really collecting yourself. So this, I want you to slow down. I want you to stop and smell the roses where you are. Now, if you don't have any roses around you, or if you're allergic, don't do it. But you gotta slow down, and you have to start enjoying where you are right now. And this, taking life and everything too seriously, is going to be a major downfall and disappointment for you, because when it comes down to it, we cannot take ourselves or life too seriously. So it's important that you go get grounded, be a little bit playful, be a little bit loose with yourself right now. And I mean that in the best sense. When I say be loose with yourself, it's get off your own back for a solid minute. Give yourself a moment to breathe, and then after you've replenished your batteries, start again. And this is going to be a little different. I hope it made sense. Are you shutting down? Like, do you feel like you lost? You just feel lost? What I'm seeing right here is all but the Queen of Cups in reverse. Okay, let's start unpacking this bad boy right here. We have the Empress in reverse. This is somebody who is feeling incredibly repressed and who feels like they have been at a loss, like they have lost something, and it's because they didn't put their best foot forward. They didn't use everything to their advantage. This can also be the sign of somebody who's very manipulative. So this could be you, this could be somebody around you, but somebody has been very manipulative in this circumstance, and I don't see that changing. It feels like they're not out of the woods. This could be you. This could be somebody that you're dealing with. The repressed feeling is the loss and the feeling of somebody who's manipulated you, feeling like you won't be able to overcome this in yourself or for yourself, feeling like you'll never be able to truly express yourself. Then we have the Queen of Cups. And this is somebody who is incredibly intuitive, very self-aware, very sensitive. So I see that actually what all this should be for you is enhancing your spidey senses. I gotta say it like that. Every single hardship and loss, and when you have doubted yourself in this, every time you have subjected your comfort for somebody else's peace, I want you to take those wrongdoings as a way that you can actually reinforce your gut and following your intuition in this. So this is somebody who zero in and focuses. I see that this is going to be probably the case for you, because there's a lot of being used to being manipulated in your world, and I know that this probably has a little bit of skewing something in the truth in your favor as a way to avoid some sort of inaction or a consequence in your life. And I see that zoning in so that this doesn't become a problem moving forward is going to be very important for you. I think that you need to really speak about what has been going on with you. I think that you need to be a little bit more compassionate with yourself while you're doing this. And I also see that you need to learn to let things go, because this is starting to intrude on the spidey senses with you, and it seems like it's kind of making everything a little bit more of a downer with you. Yeah, I hope that this made sense. There's some work up ahead. You gotta write your own rules in this if you want to have any bout of success in your life. You falling in line, probably not going to work for you, which also means you're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to work your butt off. You're going to have to juggle numerous things, and you're not going to see the payoff for a little bit. I see that things coming to a slow standstill, and we have a page of wands right here. So this is about being very clear about what you want to take action on. I see that you're going to be making some sort of an emotional effort, an emotional plea. That's going to slow things down. Emotions have to be taken out of this for a little while so that you can make some groundwork, because if you work from your emotions, then you're going to become the Two of Pentacles in reversed and completely out of balance. Emotional dealings are not going to be your favorite right now. So while I'm telling you this, read the book Never Split the Difference. I think that this might be a really big benefit for you. But speaking from a truth, speaking from your truth, and having it be an emotional truth, but also being able to detach from that emotion so you can verbalize it in an appropriate manner is going to be something that gets you a lot of headway. And I see that you do have some sense of success that is coming into play, and I do feel like this is life ambition oriented. You have to not really try and be the protege of another person. This is important that you actually you really have to be very specific and do your very own thing in this. The Hierophant in reverse is this change is not going to be comfortable for you, and it might even rock your sense of personal security with this, but the payoff is going to come off a little bit further down the road. So like I said, you're probably going to be judging a few things at a time. You have to allow yourself to express the emotion with emotionally detaching from it. So figure it out and find out a way to communicate this and not have your feelings override you, and then get back to work so you can actually have the payoff. That compartmentalized passion and that outlet for it is going to make you move mountains on here. So I hope that this made sense. This is going to be a beautiful union of introspection and action taking place, and I can't wait to see what this shows up for you as. Stop drawing in hell. Stop it right now. This is saying there's nothing for you to worry about. You're getting lost in your head. You got to ground yourself. The very fear that you keep focusing on, you are going to attract that just by being afraid of it. I know that danger is real, but the fear is an option, and you can actually recreate the experience around you. So this is saying you need to let go of your past. You have to rinse yourself off of this. I don't care if you have to jump in the shower. I don't care if you have to wipe yourself down with those dry napkins or wet napkins, whatever you have to use when you can't take a shower. So what I'm seeing in here is something has really riled you up, and this has been something that has been plaguing what seems to be your anxiety. You gotta let it go. It can kick rocks. So let me read this. You are safe, and the situation is under perfect divine control of divine providence and universal order. Only infuse loving thoughts and emotions into the situations to ensure that the highest possible outcome flows effortlessly to and through you. From when you detach from the awareness of your body and the physical world, you become ungrounded, and that's what's been happening with the stress of whatever it is that you've been afraid of. So it detaches you from the awareness of your body and the physical world, and although it's pleasant to float heavenward, your attention and work is needed here on earth. So Spirit is helping you find balance and letting your imagination kind of create your environment, but also let you do the work that you're here to do. So you need to have more compassionate and caring and loving thoughts override this. And that sounds so trite. It really does. And I don't mean for it to sound like that. But how can you conquer fear? Fear, what is the opposite of fear? Love. What are the branches of love? Platonic, romantic, ideal, all the different ways that it can express itself. So to go into the other end and just be that nothing but positive is going to only emphasize the fear. So I think that it's important right now to understand the actual fear of this and what it is that you're actually afraid of and where it stems from. Where has this shown up as a cycle in your life? And to rinse yourself off of that. That way you can actually look at the fear objectively and kind of embrace where the mind was in that and nurture it into a place of not only being neutral, but maybe being a little bit on the more understanding side. So it's like you kind of have to ease a crying child in that, if that makes sense. But once you do, then you'll actually feel safe, because not only will you be safe, but it's going to soothe that inner panic or freak out or that scared child. I hope that made sense.